Okay, now I've seen back-to-back movies starring Michael Myers. Now, before you come at me with that shit joke, technically his name is Michael Myers. He just goes by Mike Myers. He makes a cameo in this movie, and that movie is Bohemian Rhapsody. This is obviously the biopic of debatably the best frontman in music history. Just ever. This guy is phenomenal. Freddie Mercury, and Rami Malek stars as Freddie Mercury. And basically this goes through his life, goes through the upcoming of Queen, and goes through, basically stars him, goes through that shit. You know how a biopic works. But I love this movie. This movie was really, really enjoyable. It was really intriguing. I think it hit all the right notes. Keyword being notes there. This movie was fast paced. I think that's something that really worked for this movie. It keeps you intrigued, keeps you moving, it keeps you invested in this stuff that's going on. It doesn't slow down too much. Whether it's just, going stuff through the band or him personally, it always just keeps moving. That's what I really liked about it. When you compare it with a couple of music biopics the last couple of years, All Eyes on Me and Straight Outta Compton, I think Straight Outta Compton nailed it, whereas All Eyes on Me I felt was really slow. So I think it was good that it kept that pace, it kept you invested and kept you, wanting to see more. Now, of course, the thing that everyone is going to question, everyone's going to wonder how he was, Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury was fucking phenomenal. This may be a guaranteed Oscar for this guy. This was a phenomenal performance. I think this is the best performance I've seen out of an actor this year. Unless something else surprises us in the next couple of months, I think he might have an Oscar in his hand. He was fucking awesome. Whether it's, him on stage and singing and acting like Freddie, how Freddie would in front of these people, his, mannerisms was just phenomenal. But also his stuff just as, being Freddie outside of music, just being that person that, we didn't always necessarily see, but he nailed it. He was so fucking good. He kept, not only did the movie keep you invested, but he kept you invested. Because even if you were like, oh, I don't really know if this plot point is something that I'm completely intrigued by, you just wanted to see more of Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury. He literally stole the show. This was such a phenomenal characterization. He absolutely fucking nailed it. Now, another thing I loved in this movie was the music. The music was used well in all forms. Whether it was just in the background, using as a score or a soundtrack, it was really good. They obviously used all of Queen's songs, and not all of Queen's songs, but, big hits, and they played them in the background, used them well, or it was actually on stage, and he was performing them, and he killed it, or you got to see them recording it, or writing it. It was such an intriguing scene when they did that, and you were like, oh, that's cool, seeing them guys write these lyrics, or you hear, at the start of Bohemian Rhapsody, when he does it for the first time, and you're like, holy shit, I know what that is, and he's like, oh, I'm still working, blah, 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 you know what that is, and then of course, his actual on-stage presence was awesome. The songs, such great songs, such great music. So you got to listen to that through the music, just through the movie, just helped it. Even, as I said, Rami helped the movie through. But if you combine Rami's performance with the music as well, it's fucking really damn good. Now, of course, there is the band as well, the side characters, stuff like that. I think most of them were really good. I really think Bryan May, he's looks really, really close to the real dude as well. Basically, the guitarist and the guitarist and bassist looked a lot like the actual people. Rami does look a little like him as well as but it's Rami Malek. But he still does a really well job of making you see Freddie. But then the drummer kind of looks like him. But the guitarist and bassist, it's spitting images, really good. And I really like that band. And this movie does make me like the band that isn't just Freddie Mercury. It actually makes me like the Queen as a whole. I liked a few of the side characters. I hated a few of the side characters that you were meant to hate. One character, I think his name was Paul. Absolute fucking dick, and he was meant to be a dick, and I think they nailed that. You really hated this character, and you were meant to, and I like that. His best friend, I forgot her name, Mary maybe, the one that he got engaged to, but then kind of they split up because they, figure out he's gay, but, he was really, she was really good as well. The side characters all worked. Mike Myers' brief cameo was fun as well. I think this movie really had a nice cast and an ensemble. Now, obviously, there's some negatives in this movie, but not too many for my personal liking. I think they didn't dig too deep into the dark stuff, and I'll tell you why I like that. I think when you have, Bryan May and Roger, forget his last name, apologies, Roger and Bryan from the actual band helping produce this movie, they're trying to show how talented and how legendary Freddie Mercury was, and they obviously didn't want to dive too deep into that, and critics have been kind of shitting on it, saying you're not taking too many chances, this is kind of fluff. I like that. I think that worked. It does doesn't get too serious at times. It does, sometimes, but it always keeps it light and you always enjoy it. It's a kind of a positive movie, which I think was a good thing. In my personal opinion, I think that negative that has been spotlighted by the critics, particularly not liking this movie, which I don't understand, which I'll get into in a minute, but I really enjoyed that thing. And now with the critics, I saw a great comparison that this movie is like the song. When the song first came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, the critics shit all over it, and now is one of the greatest songs, if not the greatest song of all time. This movie, critics are shitting over it. The fans are absolutely loving this movie. I don't think it'll stand up as one of the greatest movies of all time, but this movie is really good. I did enjoy it thoroughly. I really had an awesome time with this movie. I didn't expect to. I'm not the biggest Queen fan or the biggest Freddie Mercury fan, but I gained a lot of respect for his performance. I gained a lot more liking of the songs that I kind of went, how much songs they have. Obviously I knew them, but I was like, no, that song's really cool as well. And I, really enjoyed this, experience. I didn't expect to enjoy how good it really was. And some of the scenes are just phenomenal. The cool stuff, being able to just see what they're creating and how they're creating it. Performances, and that Live Aid scene that they recreated was phenomenal. Really engaging. I think this movie hits a lot of the marks it needed to, and yeah, we're not going to get too deep into it, but even if you don't get too deep, you can't ignore the music and Rami Malek's fucking phenomenal performance. I'm going to give Bohemian Rhapsody a B+. Thanks guys for watching my review of Bohemian Rhapsody. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't seen it before. If you want to see more videos, plenty of stuff coming. Again, trying to add some more stuff that isn't just new release reviews, but I've also got some new release reviews coming for you as well. I'm up to date with reviews, so I don't know what the next one's going to be, but we'll see when it comes along. Thank you guys for watching, but of course, have a good one.